the very first tattoo I ever got is this one. It's a cross and
tell me about
and 5 birds.
that one. Yeah.
And the birds represent the main people that abused me in my life. And to me, the idea of just like throwing someone in a jail cell doesn't feel like justice to me. For me, seeing them encounter God the way I have and have their heart changed, that would be justice. Because throwing people in a jail cell doesn't really do anything. They get out and they do the same thing and they really become kind of worse.
You don't want them to do the same thing to somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm like, I want this to end. I want it to stop with me.
I want justice.
Yeah. So justice for me would be their salvation and for their heart to be completely changed. And I think when you get to that point, that speaks to your level of forgiveness for that person. And that's another cuss word. I'm sorry I just said, but
I know. I have to forgive, especially somebody who's done this to me. Yes. It's really, you think it's impossible to ever do, but you know, with God's help, you can, you actually can. It doesn't mean that, I mean, it's funny because you may think, because when you're sharing your story, you may be thinking about it. You know, but you're not tormented by it. There's a huge difference.
Yeah, there's a huge difference. And I think what a lot of people don't understand about forgiveness is it can sometimes seem like it's a condoning of the behavior and what happened.
Right.
But in reality, it's releasing you from that person. It's like, I'm not going to hold you responsible anymore. That's God's job. I'm trusting that he says, vengeance is mine. I'm going to trust him with that. And I'm going to go my way with him and leave you on your way with him.
Right. And you're not going to make my life miserable anymore, you know, because that's kind of like giving into your, the person that did this to you. It's like giving into them over and over again, you know, letting them have the control over and over again.
Absolutely.
And so this is like a shifted focus for you then. That was a shifted focus point where you're almost coming up. I know you mentioned something earlier about a mind of gratitude.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
Oh my gosh, that was huge. So trauma is this thing of just kind of like putting a magnifying glass on this one thing. And I started, really it was through worship. And learning how to worship and learning how to step in to an atmosphere of worship and praising when I didn't feel like it.
Yes.
When I was mad, when my prayers weren't being answered, and life was not going my way, and I didn't understand. I was very, confused. All the things, all the human emotions, like we deal with and we feel.
Yeah.
But it was in that place that I learned how to look at God the way He does me and say, "You're enough." Like just having you in my life really is enough.
Yeah, and being content with your life.
Yeah, and being content with that. And so, but I had to walk it out. And the way I did that was I would, especially days that were really hard, I would write out a list of the things I was grateful for. And I would say, I'm grateful for this specific thing because blah, blah, blah. And I would make myself hone in on the areas that were tough. So whether it was a trauma thing I was dealing with or a family issue or a work thing, I would do that and it would just shift my perspective and kind of make you pull back.
Right.
And step away from the magnifying glass and look. I'm like, oh, there's a whole room here.
Right. Because we can get so consumed of this one problem, right? And it's all consuming and takes over everything. But God's saying, hey, what about this? Or, look over here, what's going good for you right now.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to tend to focus on negative.
Totally.
We all do it.